glad you brought up the kind of the NIL situation. I'm curious on your take there. Because a lot of the problem is, you're giving an 18-year-old, $1 million to go somewhere. They might end up being dog shit, not worth that.
Right.
They transfer, they take the money, go somewhere else. What does Sean Salisbury do at 18 if he's given, $800,000? I know personally things probably wouldn't have ended well for me in college with, $1 million to my name. Didn't have the opportunity, but just curious on your take. Obviously, it was a different time.
Well, as a guy who was fortunate to be highly recruited, I just wish I was born 30 years later, man. I would have liked to see what it was like. Because I come from a blue-collar construct. My dad was a plasterer by trade, and my mom was a wedding cake decorator and did weddings, but was also a hairdresser. And we didn't have a lot of money. I know that sounds cliche that everybody said, well, we didn't. We were a paycheck-to-paycheck family, but I never knew it. Hell. Didn't matter because they were at all the games and had great love in the family. So in truth, if I'd have got that, I'd have I would have. The first thing I ever did when I got the NFL, I bought an SUV, and my dad didn't know I was doing it for him. The first vehicle I bought it for my pops, and so I would have probably taken $1 million and given it to my mom and dad to put away. They wouldn't have spent it because they would have said, "That's your money, son." But I just said, "Mom, send me enough for Domino's Pizza, so I don't have to bounce a check when you're." In 1981, we wrote checks, guys. We actually didn't have debit cards. And so as a freshman at USC, didn't want to bounce a check writing for a $12 pizza. So I'd have bought a vehicle probably. Maybe with name, image, and likeness, some dealership would have given me one because they offered me one then when it wasn't legal because that was the SMU time. So I wouldn't have known what to do with it. Hell, if I had $1,000, I was like, sold my tickets, USC, Notre Dame, scalped them and made extra money. Okay, cool. So that would have been a problem, but I know if I'd have had my hands on it, I'd been like, "Ooh, what am I going to do?" I'd have been treating everybody because I wanted all my linemen and everybody to be happy. But I think it's okay. I liked it. Listen, why shouldn't a guy that gives a speech or a phone company wants to endorse him and they want to pay him $1 million? The way it's paid out, I don't like high school guys hand-to-hand cash. When I was getting recruited and John Robinson was in my living room or Notre Dame shows up or one of the schools, at no time did I say, how much money am I going to get paid? What am I going to sell my tickets for? It was, when am I going to get a chance to play? My major's there, so when am I going to get a chance to play? How many tickets do we get? And what kind of offense are we running? Now it's here at no time. I train a bunch of kids across the country, guys, and some 5 stars that are big-time players. The name, image, and likeness is coming their way. And of the 3 questions that you're asking to a man, and I was at a think tank with like 20 coaches this summer for a week sitting around. All we did was talk football in a big old house with these guys. And you know what the number 1 question or number 2 question they're getting asked now by the parents? How much money is my kid getting paid? Not, is my major there? What's my chance to compete? How many times are we going to throw the ball? How many games we're going to be on TV? When's the Notre Dame SC game? Will I get a chance to compete? All those things. It's even if the kid's been raised right or has money or doesn't have money, it's always asked. And it's shifted the narrative and the paradigm shifted. So I don't know. I would have given it to my parents, but now you're talking 10, 12, 15 million bucks. Why should I have a problem though if Caleb Williams sells 100,000 jerseys and him getting a cut of it? How it's given him? Why? Shit, the coach got to leave whenever he wanted. Do I think we're out of hand when now guys are literally going to school because they're transferring because somebody's offered them more money? They can wake up on a Friday, be playing on a Monday. You have to sit out. You got the transfer portal. You can go whenever you want. So while I'm for the kid, we're to the point now we've gone too much extreme the other way. A way to get them paid and do it the right way. But now the cheating, I think they're cheating more. I do. Because now when you cheat, nobody's really looking. You go, oh, man, I gave him $1 million, had a hand-to-hand cash. Back then it was, and I can tell you a story. We walked into Heritage Hall. I had an alumni. Now it's past that point. We got put on probation for it, but they gave us an alumni, just like you see in the movies. The week before the Notre Dame game, I'd walk in, meet him in Heritage Hall. We would walk into the bathroom. My alumni, we'd go to the restroom, be wash hands. He'd hand me an envelope. There'd be like $5,000 in cash because he'd triple pay for the Notre Dame tickets, handed me the thing, stuck in my pocket, left the restroom, washed my hands, said, we'll see you, enjoy the game. He was my guy for 4 years. And 2,000 extra bucks, you thought you had died and gone to heaven because you had a little extra money. And now that is, hey, man, will you direct deposit? I'm doing an endorsement for Chevrolet, and it's $500,000 and I get a free Corvette. I mean, that's okay. I'm not. It's not like, oh, how dare these guys? Because there's some good players. Caleb Williams should be getting paid. Johnny Manziel should have got paid for his jersey, but I still have a problem with, we don't teach our kids in football to have to deal with adversity now. I'm not saying everybody. It's not a blanket statement. But the second a guy gets beat out, he's leaving. Or the second he wins the job but has another year or two to play, and somebody says, dude, we'll give you $3 million. Our collective's got more money. Come on, play with us. He's up and leaving his boys and his buddies and going to go get the $3 million extra. And can you blame him? Because most of these guys are not going to play very long on Sundays. And a lot of these guys, Johnny Manziel would have made more money in college than he ever did in the NFL. Would have made far more, considering now how it's turned out. Tim Tebow. How much would Tebow have been worth in college? Matt Leinart. Think about it. So I don't have a problem. I don't begrudge him. Things change. But do I think it's out of hand? I absolutely fucking think it's out of hand. Do I think the transfer portal is absurd where you can transfer 4 times? Get the fuck out of here. Enough. Okay? And without, yeah, it does. And you can't even follow him. But I understand all these years the kid, but we've got to find a way. And that's why this power, I mean, nobody knows what hands feed in the other hand. They don't know who's coming and going. So we've got to find leadership that regulates this and slows the process down till we keep some semblance of normalcy and purity if it still exists in sports. I'm for the kid. I'm for the coach. I'm for the school. I'm for the fan. But guess who doesn't have a voice in all this? The fan. They get no voice. And that sucks.